Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid. Doing a walk around here. Today's video is about 3 things, really. It's number 1, doing one last walk around to make sure I got everything loose, picked up and out of the way, because we are actually expecting a tornado this afternoon. Fingers crossed that we don't get it. But I had a very strange weekend. I don't know how to explain what happened, so I'm just going to tell you about it. And you see if you can come up with heads or tails. Make heads or tails out of it. So I got this guy, this buddy. He's like in his early 60s. Very active, very athletic. Sometimes we get together and run, or sometimes we get together and mountain bike. So he called me last week and he's like, hey, I'd like to get together with you on Saturday if it's possible and go mountain biking on back into my family's old property. Said he had a bunch of trails back there. This place is huge. It's like, he said something like, if you do all the trails the way he lined them out to zigzag around the pastures and through the woods, some of the property's wooded. So they actually have like 9 miles worth of trails. And so I told him, I'm gonna duck through some overhanging limbs here. I need to come in here and trim some of this stuff up. Got a lot of gray birch here that's growing so fast. It's getting weighted over at the top. Look at this, just blocking the trail. Walking around the upper trail here. So, why don't you come out and go mountain biking with him or running or something? I said, well, yeah, I can do it. It'd have to be like mid to late afternoon or evening, because we had my son's football game. Last game of the season, by the way. So that's done with. Now time to get involved with something else, I guess, to keep us busy as crap. What a view, huh? Look at this. So, horsefly, interesting. Deer fly, actually. So whenever we went mountain biking with the guy, went back in the trails. But before that, when we got there, he says, look, I want you to do me a favor. Where's your cell phone? And I showed him, it was in my pocket. He says, leave it in your truck. And I'm like, why? He goes, well, because I just don't want to have any sort of, I don't want us to have any sort of electronic type devices or equipment on us. He's eccentric, okay? I'm not going to call him weird, because he's got money. So he's eccentric. You know, that's the difference between weird people and eccentric people. Eccentric people are weird with money. Weird people are just weird and they don't have any money. It's true, right? So he's eccentric. And I just thought I saw something back here in the woods. You're going to have to watch behind me here. It's like the calm before the storm. What could be back here? Let's watch around, huh? So I'm like, whatever, leave the phone in the truck. So I didn't take the phone. We went biking and he told me, he said, look, I want you to, if you see anything out of the ordinary, anything strange, or if you hear anything out of the ordinary, let me know. I'm like, okay. He's really big into paranormal and stuff like that. Bigfoot, Sasquatch. So we're going through the fields and we're starting down the trail to where you can see the woods on the other side. And I was in front and I stopped because I saw something. I saw a movement. And so he pulls up beside me. He's like, what'd you see? What'd you see? He's all excited. I said, well, I think I saw a turkey. He's like, what? A turkey? And I'm like, yeah. And so we're sitting there and we're looking. It's about 200 yards away. And sure enough, this turkey was like a tom, like a young gobbler, little beard, was weaving in and out of the forest there along the wood line, a lot like this area here, eating grasshoppers or something. And he looked a little bit deflated when he saw that it was a turkey. I said, what is it you're expecting to see out here? He goes, never mind, that was just a turkey. So we did that, and I think later we're biking through the actual wooded part. I'm going to keep going down here. Something that, so I said it was a deer. I saw it before him, and he got all excited when I stopped. And so I like to admire the wildlife. I don't know, you call it ADD, whatever. Everybody's got to put a label on stuff if it's different than them, right? I just call it, I mean, when I see a beautiful plant or a beautiful animal, I'll stop and admire it. Unless if I'm racing. Not, So anyway, we finish our ride, and he goes, okay, I want you to do me a favor. And I said, what's that? He goes, I want you to come back tomorrow by yourself. You know where these trails are. You know the layout of this part of the family's land. I've been out there before, just never to the backside. He's probably got more land I don't even know about. But, and it's not like he tries to keep secret. It's just, I've never been out there. So, watch up here. Keep your eyes open up here, huh? So he says, I want you to come out here tomorrow. This would, of course, have been Sunday. He says, if you don't mind, come out here by yourself without me and just bike around or go running or whatever. Well, my training schedule called for a 5-mile run on Sunday yesterday. So I went out and I ran. And he said, again, keep your electronics in the truck. Please don't take your camera. And he knows what I do on here. That's why I'm not saying his name or exactly where he lives or anything. I know he's watching this. He says, just don't bring the electronics with you while you're out there running or biking, whatever you do. But if you want to make a video about anything odd that happens, feel free to do it. Well, this is that video, and I don't even know how to explain it. So I was running through the field, through the forest, same area that he and I had been the day before. And as I was coming up out of the woods for the last time, into the field, I was in the last half mile of my run. I looked across the field, and close to my truck, I swear it looked like there was a monkey sitting there. A monkey, of all things. And of course, my mind never thought, I feel like something's up there. Watch for movement. This whole area up here. Ever since I came up here, it's like I'm sensing movement or something up there. Some sort. We're being followed. We're not alone. You see that? We got a peeker up there behind that tree. All right. You know my strategies. You know my techniques, my very unique Bigfoot Sasquatch research techniques. Yep. At this point, I'm not looking back, and I'm not going to look at it on the phone. You look at it and see if you can figure out what it is. If I hear something large come bounding towards us, I'm probably going to go the other way, though. So anyway, my arm's getting tired. A monkey, like on the trail, almost to my truck. And I'm running. I slow down a little bit, and I'm like, is that a freaking monkey? And it, like, just kind of like lumbers off, like walking, dragging its knuckles as they do. Before I got to the truck, into the tall grass, and I got there, when I did get there, and I looked around, I saw no tracks. I couldn't tell where it had pushed the grass down. So I came home, and I texted him. I said, hey, I didn't see any turkeys or deer, but strangely, I think I might have seen a monkey, of all things. He didn't text back. I don't know. Didn't hear from him. I figured he's probably busy. And it was a little later in the day. I'd taken a nap. He was probably taking a nap too. So I go to sleep last night, Sunday night, right? I was awakened at 3 a.m. by the sound of, it was a YouTube video of a basketball video. Getting creeps telling you about this. And I told my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, about it this morning. And it scared her. And she said she wished I hadn't told her this. I didn't tell our son, and I'm not going to. But he watches like basketball videos on YouTube. He's big into basketball. And he'll go in there and he'll just watch like 3-point competition stuff from the NBA. Well, 3 a.m., this noise just wakes me up, and I'm in the master bedroom downstairs, And I can tell it's a YouTube video, and I can tell that they're talking about basketball. I look at my watch and turn on the Indiglo light. It's exactly 3 a.m., which, as you know, I thought I heard a growl. 3 a.m. is the witching hour. It's not midnight. A lot of people think it's midnight. No, it's 3 a.m. So it was, I mean, exactly 3 a.m. So I go into the living room, and so I look around. I see my laptop. It's on one end table, the end of the couch, and it's closed. The top's down. It's off. I turn it off every night before I go to bed. I look over, and Dearly has a desk in one corner of the living room there, over beside the wood stove, and her laptop is there, and the screen's up, but it's blackened out. She hadn't turned hers off, but it was clearly asleep. The laptop had gone to sleep. But I was hearing this video. I'm like, how can this be? So I went over and I touched the like the mouse pad that you work with your fingers there, where the buttons are, and so it brought up the little thing where you have to enter her like a 4-digit passcode to get into the computer. So it had been asleep. It was locked. I know her code. She knows mine. So I entered it. And so it woke up, came to, and that video was playing on YouTube. It was a basketball video. So I turned it off, and then I shut down her laptop. Turned it off, shut it down. Went back to bed. And so when I told her about this morning, and again, it makes no sense. I was like, how can it be? I can see, like, she's like, well, maybe for some reason there was like maybe a tremor, like very low grade earthquake. Maybe it kind of shook the mouse and it activated something. But it couldn't have been that, because the computer was asleep and it was locked. And so then she said, well, maybe you just had like a really vivid dream. And I thought, well, maybe that's it. Maybe I had a really vivid dream. And so we started to write it off as that. But I said, let me check one thing. I said, let's get your laptop and let's just go to YouTube and look at the history. You know, over there on the left, you can click to see the history. And she had already been on her laptop this morning, and she watched one of her friend Jenny Jo's videos. Jenny Jo's new video. I think her and her son Ken were picking strawberries or something. So I clicked history, and it showed from today, and then it showed yesterday and all the videos from yesterday. But today it had that Jenny Jo's video of her and her son picking strawberries, and then it had this basketball video, and it was the one that was on last night. Okay, and so I'm checking this around 9:30. Dearly had not watched that video, the basketball video. Daniel was not watching videos. He was asleep. It's 3 a.m. So that video definitely just came on at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I come outside, I'm doing some stuff, picking some, getting stuff, making sure there's nothing loose laying around the yard in case this tornado actually does come. We're at least going to get some high winds, and I don't want stuff blowing around, going in the pond or whatever. I get a text back from my buddy, and he says, OMG, call me. So I'm like, okay. So I call him. He goes, you honest to God saw a monkey. I said, it's what it looked like, dude, but when I got up there, it was gone, and I couldn't see any tracks. He goes, yeah, I believe that you saw a monkey. He says, I've never seen it. That's kind of why I took you out there, though. I was thinking maybe we could see it. But yeah, you saw a monkey. I said, so what, is there a monkey on the loose out there? Is this what you were trying to get me to do? Go out there and see if I could find this missing monkey? He goes, no. He says, I just wanted to see if you could see it. The monkey's a ghost, okay? This is, in a nutshell, the short version, which I'm not good at, but this guy actually talks more than me. Here's the short version. This land has been in his family for centuries, literally. I mean, yeah, like 10 generations, 12 generations. And it used to be a lot bigger, but they've had to sell off some as time's gone by to satisfy estate taxes and all that stuff. But somebody in his ancestry, so many generations back, the story was this. He was a wealthy man. I mean, they still are, but he was an older man. He was in his 50s, which for, 150 or close to 200 years ago, that was a lot older. It's not a monkey, is it? I'm looking around for this monkey now. It's some monkey business going on here with my laptop, and I think it might be related to the monkey. So anyway, affluent, very affluent, older gentleman. Had been married early in life. Had a couple kids that were grown by the time he was in his mid-50s, early to mid-50s. But his wife died while his children were still being brought up. But when they were grown and gone, he ended up falling in love with, actually it was one of his daughter's friends, beautiful young girl, and married her. But I guess he was very possessive and very jealous. And he had some insecurities about, he was in his mid-50s and he had this beautiful young 20-ish-year-old wife. He kind of took her out there and kept her, not literally locked away from the world, but locked away from the world figuratively. And she wanted to have kids, but it turned out she couldn't. They tried. She just couldn't. And again, 150 years ago, they didn't have in vitro and all that stuff. So he felt sorry for her because he felt like she was lonely. So he bought her a monkey. He actually bought her a monkey, gave it to her as a pet. Well, a traveling salesman had come through or whatever, and he was a young guy. You remember the Fuller hairbrush guys? Go around door to door selling hairbrushes and stuff. It was like that, but it was like 100 years before that. So he came by, he had a bunch of trinkets, and he gave one to this woman. The husband actually wasn't there when he came by, but it was like kind of like a necklace, and she liked it so much, but she didn't want to buy it. The guy just gave it to her. He said, hey, something to the effect of, this beautiful piece of jewelry for a beautiful woman. I think I just heard a tree knock. Well, she put it on the monkey's neck because she thought it looked good on the monkey. Well, the husband came home and in a jealous rage, we all found out, oh, this is a beautiful trinket here on the monkey's neck. Where'd this come from? She told him, and he was convinced that there was something more than just meeting a door-to-door, Fuller hairbrush salesman type guy who gave her this, and the husband's like, what do you mean gave you? We have tons of money. I'm wealthy. You're wealthy because you're my wife. He was convinced that some monkey business, pun totally intended, had taken place. And in a jealous rage, fit of anger, he strangled the monkey. And the woman went into a severe depression. She was already depressed. She was lonely. And that's why the guy got her the monkey anyway. And at some point shortly thereafter, she chose to take her own life. And shortly after that, so did her husband. So they're both gone. But my friend is here today because the family line continued through this guy's two older children, right? So anyway, the guy tells me that his property, which he's told me this before, he's told me several stories, but he says it's just haunted as AF. This property's haunted AF. And he said he's never been able to see the monkey. And he's, like I said, he watches the channel, he knows the kind of videos I make, knows the kind of stories I tell, kind of experiences I've had, stories I write. And he said that he's convinced, as I am as well, that there are those who have the ability to see and hear that which not everybody can, not everybody does. So I saw the monkey, but I'm kind of thinking, did something attach itself to me and come home with me? Because it's too coincidental, I think, that the day I was out there again for the second day in a row and actually saw this monkey, that later that very night at the witching hour of 3 a.m., this weird thing would just happen with the laptop. So I think, once again, Crazy Lake went somewhere he shouldn't have gone and maybe did something he shouldn't have done. And I think we now have some uninvited company, more of it, here on the homestead. So for whatever it's worth, I can't make sense of it. That's what happened. Just got to try to figure it out. And I just felt, with perfect timing, a raindrop fall on my head. So if there's storms going to be in the area where you live, today or whenever, stay safe. We're going to do the same. See you for more next time.